All right, you are live as we cover a protest going on at the Ballona Wetlands, LA's last coastal wetlands, which is the subject of a huge controversy over a plan that comes to a fake restoration that bulldoze the entire thing. Let's go straight out to Sarah Siegel, Jane Unchained contributor. What's happening at the scene of this Earth Day protest to save the Ballona Wetlands bulldozer? You're on, Sarah, you're on.
Hey guys, I'm out here at Ballona Wetlands. I can't turn this camera around.
You're on. You're good.
Hey guys, I just need to turn my camera around.
You're good.
I got to figure out how to turn the camera around.
All right, well, you can also point the camera at folks who are there and just pivot away from yourself and you'll find it.
There it goes.
There we go.
There you go. Got it? Perfect. Okay.
I'm trying to turn the camera off of me.
All right, well, I tell you what, while you're figuring that out, what we're going to do is explain the issue with a video.
I can't turn the camera off of me. I don't want it on me.
Okay. Let's turn it around for a second.
I don't know what's going on. I've never had this happen to me. No, you can't touch that. It's going to mess up everything.
Icon is supposed to be.
I know it's not. I'm
Flip it
trying
around,
to.
Tony.
I
Flip it around,
don't
it's gonna
see
show.
that. I've never done this before. This has never happened. Oh my god, my mic.
So tell us, Marcia, what is the issue here, the fundamental issue?
I think the fundamental issue is that we ask the question always, why would we want to destroy a place like this? And the answer is almost always follow the money. More than $12 million has already been spent over 12 years to plan a project that would basically destroy the habitat for all of these animals. And it's absurd. It's being called a, quote, restoration. It is not a restoration. It is a destruction of habitat and a big construction project that would benefit the fossil fuel industry and that would benefit some big construction and engineering companies.
There is a website, defendballonawetlands.org. You can go there. You can click on get updates, and they will tell you about all the upcoming hearings. There are 6 lawsuits against this planned destruction. Here's just one of the lawsuits, and you can see that there are many, many arguments against this. Essentially, the biggest argument is that 1,700 species, some endangered, some threatened, live in this 1,000, 1 square mile approximately, that's the area, and it is LA's last coastal wetlands. These animals have nowhere else to go. We're in the midst of the 6th mass extinction. And why would we destroy their home, chase them off, and spend 10 years and more than $200 million doing this? As people say, it makes no sense. It's going to deprive people in urban areas who desperately need to get out into nature a chance to experience nature for a decade as climate change accelerates. And at the end of 10 years, who knows where climate change is going to be, Marcia?
Right. I mean, that is at the crux of this. The fossil fuel industry is getting desperate. They want to get every penny, every dime out of the ground into their executive perks that they give every year. And they just are hanging on by a thread, but they are hanging on. In California, the biggest dollars going toward lobbying of our governor and our state legislature comes from the oil and gas industry. And this project would allow SoCalGas to put new fossil fuel infrastructure in. And we just can't have that. We need to be closing down this gas field.
You can join us. Once again, there is a protest going on. You saw a little bit of it. It's very exciting. There's a lot of people out there at the Ballona Wetlands here on Earth Day. We're going to be joining them in a second, but we wanted to give you just sort of a sense of what the issues are. Okay, here we are. We think we've got it. Go ahead. Take it away.
It is Earth Day. April 22nd, 2022. We are here to defend Ballona Wetlands, raise awareness of what's going on out here, SoCalGas, and the fake restoration to destroy this beautiful land all around us, 600 acres, with all the animals, okay, that were being killed, displaced, and we need to protect sacred spaces, and Ballona is one of them. So we are all gathered. I really appreciate everyone coming out. Why don't we all gather around the room here today? Thank you so much for being here. We have Sierra Club, we have Miles here, one of the great actors, Michael, everybody here. Kathy Knight, Camp Delgado, and Zoe, Marcia, Amy from the neighborhood. So, we need real community gatherings to help stop this. Okay, that is what's going to stop it, especially if we show the governor that we don't want this and we won't vote him back in if he allows this to happen. It's not just the city council. We need to get the governor to sign off on this and leave Ballona alone. So we're going to go out. We're going to protest out here, show our signs, gather in solidarity to defend Ballona Wetlands. Today, Earth Day, in honor of Earth Day, we protect the people, planet, and the animals, and our homes. Yes. Aliso Canyon. So let's go, everybody. So we're going to pass out flyers. We're going to have, we show people.
Can you hold up still?
On Culver and Jefferson, our signs, and we speak out and lift our voices and hearts for the communities around here. What actually affects all of us in LA.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and ask. I want to find out, why are you here today? Why are you here at Ballona Wetlands?
To show solidarity with the people that love the Ballona Wetlands and want to keep it as it is, and are infuriated with the various plans that are so-called restorations that are in reality destruction.
Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, everybody, we're just walking around. We're showing the signs. People are saying, if you hold the sign still, save the Ballona Wetlands.
Let's go over to the corner and let's pass out the cards also. So we have some of that demonstration over on that side, and we're going to stand over here where the traffic is.
Why do you have that sign that says "Get gas out of Ballona"? What does that sign mean?
That means that SoCalGas needs to get out of Ballona Wetlands, and that it's a twofold thing. They want to do a fake restoration, and then they want to also try to keep Playa del Rey gas and oil field open. SoCalGas is the main culprit, and you can see it right over there. Very large facility, and so underneath the Ballona are these SoCalGas storage facilities that contain gas that could blow up.
All right, so you've been watching a little bit of that protest. And you
That's
can
going on
see
here
that
with
we're
this
bringing it to
restoration.
you.
So yeah, get gas
Um,
out, SoCal gas.
let's
No
hear it
more
again.
gas and oil, no more dirty energy, 100% renewable by 2022. We need to do it. So we're gonna come over here. Oh, careful. Let's go. We need to get SoCal gas.
So let me ask you, why are you here today? What are you doing out here? Why do you have this sign that says "Don't destroy our family homes"? What does this mean?
This means that this is a home, the home that is for animals, that is a home for us. We are destroying our planet every time we tamper with it. The Southern California Gas Company needs to get out of Ballona and leave Ballona Wetlands alone. 1,700 species families are at risk of dying, displaced, caged,
Look at this little,
suffering.
look at this little cutie pie right here.
Like her, like this.
Oh my God, that is so cute. And you painted this poster?
Yes, I did.
Wow, this is incredible. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow. This is a big protest, everybody. This is Earth Day. We are live here in Ballona Wetlands.
What better day than to do today? Let's protect our planet.
We are celebrating Earth Day to protect our sacred spaces, people, planet, and the animals. It's time for clean energy, 100% renewable, and to protect all species. That's human, birds, fish, snakes, birds, rabbits, everything. Insects. We need to protect the biodiversity. Everything here that lives in Ballona needs to be protected. The people, planet,
All right,
animals,
so you've been hearing this protest. We're going to just now speak to you a little bit. Roy, you are a biologist. You study the wetlands. Tell us why it will be an ecological disaster if this happens. If they do the restoration, that is a 10-year, $200 million excavation.
Well, there's an intact flora and fauna here now with a complete ecosystem of uplands, such as grasslands, woodlands that intersect and work well with the wetlands that are here. We have an estuary here now. We have everything here that's in a really good wetland, the white-tailed kite, the barn owl that you just saw, the adult great blue heron, in the pickleweed, the great egret, two of them, the brown pelican, a juvenile born on Channel Islands National Park, but spending the winter season here. Small neotropical songbirds that migrate long distances from Mexico to come to be here in the summer, such as this small songbird. The snowy egret, the short-eared owl. This is a magical owl that is a grassland owl. She lays her eggs only on the ground, never in trees. And the fact that she's spending the winter here is important. And striped skunk.
So many animals who are living there, and yet those who want to destroy that area and excavate it, calling it a restoration at a cost of $200 million in at least a decade, claim that it's dead and dying. Is that what they call an alternative fact? A lie, Marcia Hanscom?
Yeah, I mean, this is why there are 6 lawsuits over this project, because the facts, the so-called facts they put together into the record are completely inaccurate. There are misleading comments. They didn't even respond to some of the most important things about the endangered species and rare species. There are dozens of species on a list called the California Species List of Special Concern. Normally, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife is responsible for protecting those species, like this white-tailed kite. Yet, it's like the fox is guarding the hen house here. Somehow, this agency has gotten involved with SoCal Gas and other private interests. They've given $3 million just to one engineering company that hasn't even done the analysis correctly. So it's a mixed up boondoggle. That is what this is, and we need to stop it. But we need everybody to help stop it.
Now, we invite SoCal Gas, fossil fuel industry, California Department of Fish and Wildlife officials on anytime. We would love to dialogue with them. Again, 6 lawsuits to stop this project. And I think we can go back out for a second to the protest. Hey, the protest's still going on. What's happening over there, Sarah? What's happening, Sarah?
Hey, everybody. We are here with a large group of protesters. There are people from groups all over. There are people from indigenous nations. There are people that want to protect all species. There are people that wanted to protect the botanicals. So there are people here from Sierra Club. There's somebody that's been in Sierra Club for over 51 years. Why are you here today?
Well, I am also a member of Sierra Club, and I'm here because I live here. The earth is my home.
As loud as possible.
The earth is my home, and I love it. I don't want this sacred land to be tossed aside. It's not fair.
Thank you for being here. And look at her shirt. She has a shirt on that says, "Don't bulldoze Ballona." And why are you here today? Just to be here. Can I see your sign?
I'm not here just to be here. I've been in this fight for a very long time. I think it's outrageous that they developed across the road, and now they want to. They want to bulldoze in the name of restoration, but it's not a restoration. It's a travesty. It's habitat destruction, and in order to have gas tanks. And I'm sorry.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, honestly, because, I mean, everybody needs to speak up for the planet, right?
I just wish you hadn't been shouting in my face with that.
All right, so let me go back to Roy Vanderhoek. The folks who want to do this, this restoration that is the subject of 6 lawsuits, and we invite anybody who supports this quote unquote restoration that would excavate the entire thing on any time. We would love to dialogue with them. What will happen to that wildlife that we've been showing? Where will they go? Roy.
Okay, well, the smaller animals that can't really move, they're going to perish quickly. And we're talking about more than 1,000 species of insects, including butterflies, dragonflies, native bees, small lizards, small mice. Some of the birds will move away, like the white-tailed kite and the great blue heron, but there's a good chance they may die wherever they go to, because some of them are born and raised here and have been here many generations. The striped skunk doesn't have a chance of moving.
So we are in the midst of a 6th mass extinction. At the rate we are destroying wildlife around the world, we will have essentially no wildlife vertebrates by 2026. That is a crisis, and that's going to trigger an ecological collapse. Marcia, why is it that is not front and center as a consideration by the governor, who has talked about climate change as being a top priority, by the federal government? You have President Biden, who just said this week that he wants to slash greenhouse gas emissions in half, and protecting habitats. Trees absorb carbon. So trees and greens absorb carbon. So why is it not obvious that destroying LA's last coastal wetlands, home to 1,700 species, is not a good idea?
Well, it's a very big question. We would like to hear the governor answer. I mean, Governor Newsom just put out these amazing plans. He's talked about it. He now has a plan to say we have to save 30% of our land by 2030 in California. That should mean every single inch of natural land we have. And so someone has gotten to him. He's getting very bad advice. And we hope that he is going to wake up soon. We're asking people to sign a petition so that we can get 15,000 signatures to him this month. And that petition hopefully will help, but we have to get every piece of information to him possible, because he is listening to staff people who are giving him the wrong advice. They're telling him this land is dying and there's no wildlife here, and that's why they have to make these changes. And it's just not true.
Well, these photographs are taken at the wetlands, and there is a photographer who has time-stamped documentation who could do a deposition, and he's taken a lot of these photographs. And we thank him for providing these photographs to us for our use here today. And again, we invite anybody from the governor's office, from California Department of Fish and Wildlife, from the fossil fuel industry, from any place on to discuss this. I would like to wrap up by pointing out that the petition is in the link. The link to the petition is in the introduction to this video. So if you want to sign the petition, you can do so. Marcia, where is that petition going to go?
We will be delivering it directly to Governor Newsom, to his Secretary of Natural Resources, and to his Secretary of the EPA. All those people all are in the decision-making possibilities. Now, the Secretary of Natural Resources actually told me several weeks ago that he's going to just wait until see what the courts say. Well, we do have a number of lawsuits happening, but you never know who you're going to get as a judge either. And really, it is the governor's responsibility. The buck stops with him. He should not be doing this. He should not be supporting a gas storage facility staying any longer than necessary. We need to start closing that down and withdrawing this terrible bulldozing project.
Now, a couple of other things. One, there is a gentle restoration plan that you can see at defendballonawetlands.org. You see it right there at the top, a 20-point plan. That you've been instrumental in designing that, and other biologists and environmentalists. You say it achieves all the legitimate goals of restoration, the introduction of native species, the increase in flora and fauna, without bulldozing and excavating the entire thing. I mean, the gentle restoration plan, is that something that that our government has bothered to consider? It's a 20-point plan. It's very detailed, and it achieves all the legitimate goals of restoration. Marcia.
Yeah, I think maybe Roy could talk to that a little bit, because he is a wildlife biologist that worked for the federal government. And I think that the bottom line in this plan is to do the kinds of things the federal Fish and Wildlife Service likes to do when you have a sensitive area like Ballona.
Roy, what would the gentle restoration achieve?
Well, its primary focus is the concept of recovery. Recovery is a legal word that we use under the Endangered Species Act, which isn't about restoration. It's about bringing back animals and plants through passive watching, active wildlife management, like nest boxes or platforms for bald eagle and osprey, and then translocating young eaglets to the platforms, and then assisting them with feeding, as an example. It also involves using native ecology, which is where wisdom is. Science doesn't have wisdom. Science has knowledge, but the ethics and the wisdom comes from what indigenous peoples know. So under our gentle restoration plan, we put Native American, indigenous peoples, tribal nations at the outset, right at the top, number one, as including them in the process, because they really know and understand and have sensitivity, and would immediately see, 1,700 species here of flora and fauna. What's going on with this idea to bulldoze this area?
Let's hear from Molly again. She's speaking. Okay, here we go.
100% renewable, clean energy, defending sacred spaces. This is sacred land for people, planet.
Okay, guys, listen, I'm out here with two people that know 100% that this is sacred land. One of them here is Kathy Knight. Kathy, tell me, why are you here today?
I'm here today because I want to stand up for the Tongva indigenous people that have lived here for 10,000 years. This is a registered sacred site for them in California, and it's called Sa'angna. And we need to respect these people. They've been living here for so long. They took care of the earth. They were treated badly, and their land taken away from them. And this is time to respect them. We need to respect their culture that lived here for 10,000 years and let people know about it. Not bulldoze it. That's crazy. That's not respecting it at all.
And that was very well said. We're going to go back to Marcia as we wrap up. What can people do if they want to get involved?
Well, there are a couple of things. You mentioned defendballonawetlands.org. People can go there and sign up to get alerts. There are public hearings all the time that a number of agencies have where you can go and speak at general public comment and try to get a message to the governor through his various agencies. And you can sign this petition and ask 10 of your friends today to help sign this petition. Get it around, because we're almost at 11,000 signatures. We want 15,000 signatures by the end of next week to deliver to the governor.
And the link to the petition is right in the intro to this video. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Once again, we invite the fossil fuel industry, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Governor Newsom's office, anybody who wants to comment. We'd love to dialogue with you. Let's have a conversation about the 20-point gentle restoration alternative. Nobody's saying that nothing needs to be done, but I use the analogy, if somebody said, well, we've got to renovate and restore Buckingham Palace, let's destroy the whole thing and dig a hole, a giant hole where Buckingham Palace was. People would say, you're out of your mind. That's not restoring Buckingham Palace. That's destroying Buckingham Palace. But somehow you apply this to this home of 1,700 species. People can't see the obvious, that destruction is not restoration. And that we're in the midst of a sixth mass extinction, and we cannot afford to. Los Angeles and California are supposed to be the leaders, the progressives. What happens here in LA spreads to the rest of the world. Final thought, Marcia. I mean, if this goes through, does it portend disaster for other wetlands around the world?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why this has such a special opportunity for the governor to show we are leaders, instead of saying, oh, we'll help save the rainforest many, many miles away, but we won't even save these rare, fragile habitats here in Los Angeles that we've got. And the people in Los Angeles deserve to have a special place like this as well. And that's why I'm here doing this work. A woman woke me up about 27 years ago who said, I live in Inglewood and I have never been in nature before. And I met her in the Santa Monica Mountains. She was crying because she hadn't experienced nature, and she was in her 40s. That shouldn't be. We should have a place like Ballona open to the inner city people today, not waiting for 10 years of destroying and starting over to make something different.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's sort of, well, to me, infuriating is that the proponents of this plan are sort of saying, well, we're doing this for the inner city kids and communities of color. And, as a Latina, I find that offensive. Like, there is a beautiful nature right there, 1 square mile, and the gates are locked. And the fossil fuel company has the key to the gate, so they could let people in. There are paths right now. There are benches where they could sit. But somehow they've got to destroy the whole thing before they let people in. Your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculous notion that we can't open a gate. But part of it is because this gas facility is there. We need to close the gas facility so that it's not dangerous to anybody, including all of these animals. And then we need to open up the gate. And we need to have management there. We need rangers there full time to make sure this place is protected and interpreted so people can have someone like Roy who knows, oh, that's a great blue heron. Look at where it's nesting, and can tell people about nature. We have gotten so disconnected here in our urban areas, and we need that connection.
What Marcia is referring to, Jane, is called interpretation and education. And the highest government entity in the United States is the National Park Service. And this place really does need to move beyond California. And Governor Gavin Newsom, from what I'm seeing, we need to have a national park here with interpretation, historic preservation, gentle access. We need to think of Ballona as being Yosemite National Park, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon. It's in that league of importance with endangered species and the opportunities of education. And guess what? The National Park Service wants to be in LA. They want to expand and have more here. And I expect we're going to see that with our 2 U.S. senators and our president now, Joe Biden. I think we're going to see that come to fruition. And our Congressman Ted Lieu, who's introduced the bill again in the House of Representatives to start a study of the Ballona Wetlands as a national park.
Where do these lawsuits stand, Marcia? There's approximately 6 of them.
Yes, one of them is challenging all of the money that has been put forward. And very soon there should be a hearing. I believe it's in June on that lawsuit. We're also waiting for the state of California to put together a record, an administrative record for why they decided to do this. So it may take a little while for these lawsuits to go through the court. The bottom line is, though, we need support for those lawsuits. And more than that, we need the public to rise up, ask every single elected official they know to get involved. There's not one elected official supporting this project publicly, yet there's also no one saying, hey, stop this. And we need them. We do have a few officials who have said close down the gas facility. Mike Bonin, we're so grateful for him doing that. Janice Hahn, our county supervisor, Paul Koretz from the city council. But we also need them to all stand up and strongly say to the governor, this is a ridiculous plan. Why would you destroy habitat for even one endangered species, let alone 7? So we really need these elected officials to have some courage, and it's up to the public. They work for us.
If you're just joining us, on the lower hand of the screen is a protest going on right now at the Ballona Wetlands in Playa del Rey, which is also near Marina del Rey, which is near Los Angeles Airport. And they are protesting a plan that is being billed as a restoration, but there are experts who've said it's not a restoration. It would literally bulldoze the entire area that is the Ballona Wetlands, or most of it. And it would take 10 years, cost more than $200 million. And the critics say that it's really to benefit the fossil fuel industry, which has a gas storage facility deep underneath the wetlands that they have been active at doing something with, because we've seen SoCal Gas out there, and we invite SoCal Gas on any time. In fact, the last time the leader of this protest was out there, police were called, and she was accused of trespassing, but thankfully we were live and showed that she was not trespassing. She was standing on public property. What do we know? Do we have any idea what that work was, and why is work being done if the final environmental impact report for this proposal that would take 10 years approximately and $200 million hasn't gotten the final approval to move forward? And also I want to ask you, why hasn't it gotten the final approval? There is apparently some kind of problem with the flood calculations.
Yeah, one of the things they want to do here is to demolish the Ballona Creek River levees. The levees that are on both sides of the river, which close to the ocean is a natural mud bottom and has natural plants growing all along it, and a couple of endangered species that have been using the habitat there. And if they're going to take out those levees, which are providing flood protection for the local residents, the roads we drive on, the businesses in the area, then they have to build some other kind of flood protection. They will have to build big walls all around the edges of the wetlands, which is another big part of this ridiculous construction project. But the Army Corps of Engineers and the County Flood Control District looked at that and said, wait a minute, you did not use the correct flood calculations. Why would we have a lesser standard of flood protection? And I think the Army Corps of Engineers may have learned their lesson from Louisiana when they had big flood problems. And so they're saying, no, you do not have federal approvals. And that might still take a couple of years. But that's why we want to stop the project now. It's you asked about the gas rig. There are several gas rigs out at the wetlands that are actually described in the project. A lot of people on the side of doing this project are saying, oh, SoCal Gas has nothing to do with this. Well, if you read the environmental impact report, you find out they do have something to do with this. There are 17 wells throughout the project, and they want to move them over onto part of their property and do slant drilling underneath the wetlands. So they wouldn't be getting rid of the gas storage field at all. It would still be just as big. And they're trying to do this under the radar without all the federal approvals.
All right, let's go. And we invite SoCal Gas, any representatives on anytime. We'd love to dialogue with them.
Yeah.
Let's hear what she's saying. This is Molly Baysworth.
And get involved. We have more people out at this protest than we've ever had. And there are some community people who live here.
So tell us the website. What's the website, Molly?
DefendBallonawetlands.org. O-R-G. DefendBallonawetlands.org.
What can people do besides go to that website? What's the action?
They can sign up. They can sign a petition that's there. They can leave their information, and we will reach out to them and get them involved. Contact the governor. Tell him to protect the Ballona Wetlands, to sign on this destructive plan that they have in the works. We have been holding these people off, but we need the governor to get courage to change, to help us, and it would just be a swipe of his pen, and it would stop this restoration and getting the SoCal Gas out of the wetlands. We need to protect people, planet, and animals. DefendBallonawetlands.org.
Thank you so much. And we've got so many people out here. There's so many people out here.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question as we see that demonstration, Marcia. Aliso Canyon, which is reportedly a similar facility, several years ago had a blowout that was considered one of the worst environmental catastrophes in California history. And according to published reports I'm reading here, Los Angeles City Council members Mike Bonin and Paul Koretz have pressured the powers that be to say this facility be closed down because it's a heavily populated area near LAX, Playa del Rey, and Marina del Rey, and also because they're concerned about the possibility of a similar environmental disaster here at this facility at the Ballona Wetlands. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that blowout was a disaster. There are still people who I've spoken with and who I've met who are very, very sick from the blowout that happened. And that's because it wasn't just a blowout of methane gas, but there are more than 200 chemicals that are used to inject the gas and to extract it. And that's why people are still sick. And Sammy Roth from the Los Angeles Times wrote a really great article a couple of weeks ago. If you look him up in the LA Times, Sammy Roth, he wrote about the Playa del Rey gas storage facility, and he explained how this is one of the most dangerous facilities in the state. And in fact, a report to the state legislature said it is the most dangerous because so many people live nearby. If if a similar blowout to Aliso happened here, you would have to evacuate LAX, the city of Santa Monica, the city of Culver City, which is why the city of Culver City recently voted to send a message to the governor to close the facility. So finally, people are realizing this is not a safe way to get our energy.
Let me ask you this question. When I was first told about this by Molly Baszler, who is a green campaigner, she's running for Los Angeles City Council in District 5. She's a well-known environmentalist who worked with Al Gore. I had no idea this was happening. Do you think, and I live nearby, and I'm a reporter who actually covered a protest many years ago before Playa Vista was built, led by Martin Sheen and indigenous people, and demanding that these wetlands be protected. I was shocked. I didn't know that there was a gas storage facility underneath the wetlands. I didn't know that this plan to do this quote unquote restoration that is now the subject of 6 lawsuits and restoration, a bogus restoration was happening. I knew nothing of it. Do you feel that the game plan amongst those who wanted to make this happen was nobody's going to find out about it? By the time that they know about it, it's going to be a done deal.
I think that's exactly what they thought would happen. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the earth and for all of these species, they have had a lot of missteps, and the public is finding out. And that's why it's great to see so many people out there today passing out literature that explains what's really happening, because my community in Playa del Rey just didn't know about it until really this last year. More and more people are learning about it. And I have to tell you, the people in the communities surrounding this area do not want a 9-year construction project. And many of them moved here because of the beauty and love for nature. So they don't want to see this happen.
I saw more than 35 pelicans at the mouth of the Ballona Wetlands just the other day, and I videotaped it. As we wrap up our coverage, let me play a video that really brings home what this is all about. So you can get involved by signing the petition on the intro to this live video, and also going to defendballonawetlands.org. Sign up. You will get notifications about hearings. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. You see, the protest is still going on out there. One more peek at what's happening there before we wrap it up. Sarah, what's happening out there?
Hey, we are out here. Annie is out here, and we have a new person out here, and she's Amy, and she's trying to tell everybody in her neighborhood. So, Amy, where do you live, and what? And you said you have a kid also, right?
I live in Playa del Rey.
Talk as loud as possible.
Oh, I live in Playa del Rey, and I have a kid that's 12, and she goes to school in the local area, and we're just trying to get people to be aware. We'd love to see more families, more people involved and get us out here, because we need to be done.
Okay, so you're saying that even school kids don't even know about this, and maybe the educators could talk to them about this in these schools around here, possibly, right?
Absolutely.
What do you say to that, Marcia?
Well, I say if anybody wants to come out, even though we are not allowed in certain areas, Roy is a great educator, and he would be happy to lead a school group up and down Ballona Creek and show people some of the wildlife. You can see it through the fences. And I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Coffin, the amazing photographer who a lot of these photos of the wildlife here today. He's out there every day taking photographs for the last more than 10 years.
Yeah, and I want to also thank him and point out here, Debbie Goodman says, I live here in Del Rey, and my neighbors did not know this was happening until today. So many people do not know that this is happening. And that is really, really important. Once again, there is a petition linked to the intro of this video that you can sign. We're urging, I know defendballonawetlands.org is urging everybody to sign it. And so many of the people here are just saying very simply, save the wetlands. Destruction isn't restoration. The idea that you're going to spend $200 million and 10 years bulldozing something that has 1,700 species thriving on it today and call that a restoration while the animals are chased off and died, some endangered, some threatened, it does not make sense. And that is why there are 6 lawsuits now against it. 6 lawsuits. Final thoughts, Marcia.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is tuning in. And if you have seen this today, please send it on, share it out with your networks, and let people know this is really, the government works for us, but only if we communicate with them.
Thank you so much, Roy Vanderhoek, biologist, Marcia Hanscom of both of you of the Ballona Institute, Sarah Siegel out there on the scene at the protest, which is still ongoing at the Ballona Wetlands. And if you want to know exactly where it is, in Playa del Rey, at the corner of Lincoln and Jefferson, there is a sign that says the Ballona Wetlands Ecological Reserve. And in that area, on both sides of Lincoln, is approximately 1 square mile of wetlands where 1,700 species, that's more than 1,700 animals, that's 1,700 species live. So thousands of animals are at stake. And also, the critics say that there are safety issues because they're worried about the possibility of another Aliso Canyon blowout, which was a similar facility in an area that is not as densely populated as this area.
How does it make sense to have a methane gas storage facility underneath a state ecological reserve? It just doesn't.
Well, on that note, we invite the fossil fuel industry, Governor Newsom's office, anybody who has a stake in this that wants to dialogue. We would love to dialogue with you. We'd love to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. Share this out. Sign the petition. Go to defendballonawetlands.org. These animals cannot speak for themselves. Jane Velez-Mitchell reporting for